what's going on, Ramley? Welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. Here's your daily dose of Los Angeles Rams news. We're going to talk power rankings. Those have come out now, seeing where the Rams sit across all of the other websites, plus Skinny Tees and my own thoughts on where the Rams reside within the 32 NFL teams. First and foremost, those Skinny Tee. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Doing good. Yesterday was Tuesday. If anybody's looking at a calendar, no football on a Tuesday after a stretch of football. I just felt so alone. And, and nothing to turn on the television that's as exciting as NFL football on a Tuesday. Maybe one day we'll have wall to wall.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are always real lonely. Not everyone. A lot of people like to hate on Thursday night football, but I'm like, imagine if we got rid of that. We'd have to wait all the way. Like, there'd be nothing from Tuesday to Saturday.
All right, 2 questions for you. Are you for NFL football on Friday nights? Are you for or against NFL football on Christmas Day?
I am against it on Friday nights only because that's high school football, and I'm getting much more into high school football with USC recruiting. I'm actually planning to go to a game this Friday. There's a good Pasadena game, John Muir High School playing one of their rivals, and they're actually really good this year and have a couple USC potential prospects. So I just feel like Friday's high school football, Saturday's college football, Sunday's pro football, and I'm okay with Thursdays because that's like an open day. Christmas, I'm okay with it. I don't have a ton of thought on it, but I think I'm okay with it. I love being a football guy. Nothing against the NBA, but I do love that the NFL is like, yeah, you may have had Christmas. We're just going to come take it from you, though. It's ours now.
Yeah, it was cute what you guys are doing over there. Yeah. I'm for it on Fridays. I'm against it on Christmas, just because from a fan perspective, I'm all for it. But as a media guy, like the idea of maybe having to work on Christmas, kills another part of my almost dead soul.
I know, because luckily we get like Thanksgiving. We've been okay. Like Rams haven't played at Thanksgiving, nor the Chargers. If we were like covering the Lions, that would suck every Thanksgiving, just knowing you have to work. But that's true. Christmas would be, is tough if you got your team playing that game that we cover. If you're a fan, why not just flip it on while you're opening presents? That's great. So speaking of presents, quickly before we get into it, talk about our new friends over at Sleeper. If you've never heard of it, here's a little secret. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but the app offers so much more. Live stats, real-time updates, and visualization on all stats. Newsfeed, get lightning-fast updates on your favorite players and teams, just as fast as Twitter. If you don't want to be on Twitter, you can be on Sleeper and get those updates. Real-time chat, you can engage with other users about individual plays and performances during the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, every sports season. Download the #1 sports app today and experience it yourself. You got the fun pick'ems we talk about. We'll do our live pick'em tomorrow during the live show. Pick more or less on your favorite players. Matthew Stafford, more or less, 250 yards. Kyren Williams, more or less, anytime touchdown. He's going to have 1 touchdown anytime during the game. Just stack those, win real money. And today, when you download the Sleeper app, make sure you use our code RAMS LAFB on your first deposit. You get a match bonus up to $100. That's RAMS LAFB, all one word. Gets you a match bonus up to $100. Download Sleeper today. Tell them the guys at the LAFB network sent you. All right, power rankings, Skinny. We'll give ours last where we see this Rams team. I think I don't know what all the fans thought we were. I thought we were fair in our recap of the game. Big 14 win. Obviously dove into some of the questions, but obviously excited about what the defense looked like and a lot there. So we'll see how that contends with the rest of the team. But when you look across the board, let's start. We'll go one by one. Well, not really one by one because we're going to kind of break it down all together. But I'll just start with ESPN's power rankings. They went up 1 spot, Skinny, from 8th in the preseason to now 7th. And their best newcomer performer they had was Nate Landman. So just to ask you this, don't comment on the 7 yet, because we're going to go through all of them, but thoughts on them basically propping up Nate Landman as the top newcomer.
Come on, easy target, guys. Easy. Everybody knew that. Come on. Get a little bit more creative. Love you, Sarah Barshop. Kids and family are great, but come on. Let's I mean, best newcomer, like who, I mean, it might be the only option because none of the rookies really played. Josiah Stewart played a couple of snaps, so it might have been the only newcomer. But you throw Davante Adams in there, not new to the NFL, but 50 yards or a game-saving forced fumble. Okay, Sarah, I give you a break on that one.
Yeah, it was really the only answer. That was an easy. Yeah. If that was the prompt for what they had to do, which it looks like all teams they did, best newcomer performance. I mean, that was the obvious answer.
How many yards would Davante Adams had to overshadow that landman peanut punch?
That's a good question.
Over a hundo?
I would say, over a hundo and a tutty, probably.
Yeah, that's a tall order.
When you got a game-saving peanut punch, and didn't he lead the team in tackles also?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm just thoroughly impressed with this guy. I keep saying sorry for being so hard on him.
Okay.
And one more time.
High expectations, but he's lived up to it through 1 week. So that's great.
Yeah.
Our 100%. Zimbabwean friend. All right. NFL.com has the Rams ranked 10th. They have them behind. So I won't do this for everyone, but they have them behind the Broncos, the Lions, who are 0-1. And any other surprises? They have the Buccaneers all the way at 6. The Chiefs at 5 at 0-1. Any qualms with NFL.com putting the Rams so low at 10?
Week 1 is sort of miragey. So, you gotta give the Chiefs their due. Putting them at 5 is a bit of a stretch. The Bucs, divisional rivalry. Washington, you could talk yourself into. Detroit and Denver, I think, are probably the big ones that I have my biggest problems with. Detroit looked terrible. I mean, their offensive line looked just unworkable. Jared Goff looks terrible behind these new guys. Ben Johnson gone, of course. And the Broncos, I mean, Bo Nix really struggled, and putting Bo Nix over Matthew Stafford at any point and right now is almost criminal.
Yeah. Here's how I look at it. Again, it's 1 week. Then these power rankings are supposed to change every week. I think what's hard with power rankings is usually most people, and this is just human nature, it's kind of a continuance on like, okay, well, I had the Chiefs at 5. How they do this week? Okay, I'll keep them at 5. It should start from 0 every week. And like, okay, now this is based on what we saw from this week's performance. So just based on 1 week, the Lions should be like in the 20s. I mean, they were terrible. Looked absolutely atrocious. You can't base it on last year and put them all the way in the top 10 just because of how they finished last year. Based on week 1, they were atrocious. They should nowhere be near the top 10. And the fact that this is what every year somehow gets glossed over. When you lose both coordinators in Ben Johnson and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name, defensive coordinator of the New York Jets. Thank you, Aaron Glenn. Like, that's a huge loss. And I love Dan Campbell, their head coach, but he's not like the play caller. He wasn't the offensive architect of the Lions. Like, he's basically a CEO, a motivator, game manager. Like, he's a true sense of like a head coach running the operation, but he's not the one like in the lab calling the plays. Because you remember, even in his first year, Anthony Lynn was his OC calling plays. He took it over because it was going bad, and so he did do some play calling that first year, and then promoted Ben Johnson that really made the Lions offense what it was. We saw it with the Eagles. When the Eagles lost both their coordinators after going to the Super Bowl, they took a huge regression the next year. And then obviously last year they go out and get 2 of the best in the business and Vic Fangio and bringing over a new OC as well. And they got back to form. So I think the Lions are kind of in for a rude awakening this year. We'll see. I'm not saying they're going to be like miss the playoffs necessarily, but they're not a top 10 team right now. And the Broncos, everyone knows, I'm not shy about it. That's my childhood team. But as of 1 week, like, they were lucky to escape with a win against a rookie quarterback. And the defense looks dominant.
Yeah.
The defense looks really good. But you still gave up 12 points to a rookie quarterback, and the Rams gave up 9 points to third-year CJ Stroud. So you could argue the Rams defense actually still looked better. So they should be above the Broncos too.
Just to comment on the Lions, DVOA, one of the most respected advanced metrics in the game, take a lot of things into account when coming up with it. They're ranked 28th offense, 24th defense, 30th across the board in that metric. That's bad.
Not good. That's not
Not
good.
good.
Not good. So, all right, let's go. I'm going to go to Sports Illustrated next because they have the same spot. They put the Rams at number 10. They had them at 10 in the preseason. Also have the Bucks in front of them at 9. They have San Francisco ahead of them at 8. And then who's the only other new one? Chargers, they put in there at 6. And then all the other, I think, usual teams, Eagles, Bills, Ravens, yada, yada, yada. So we're not going to talk too much on SI, but I guess any of those teams surprise you being ahead of the Rams that I mentioned?
San Francisco didn't look great against Seattle. Seattle's got a good defense, not much to speak for on offense. Low scoring game. It was kind of, similar division opponent again. So it's kind of a weird game in general, but not looking powerful on offense. Their defense is finding its form again though. But I have trouble with that one. The Chargers are an interesting conversation. Really, really making a statement against the Chiefs. So obviously if we're just doing like a week 1 kind of thing, beating the offensive or the AFC champions.
Yeah.
Not only that, but a division game. Not only that, changing your stripes, looking a lot different than everybody. Everybody's like, Marion Hampton doubled down on fantasy stock. He's going to get 50 carries a game. They're just slinging it around with probably top 5 quarterback. Justin Herbert.
Yeah, also got an air raid offense over there, Cross and El Segundo. So, and that's what's always so fun to me with these rankings, right? Like you see some teams that they get that, okay, week 1 bump. Chargers looked great in week 1, so we're going to rank them high, as they should, I think.
Yeah.
And then another team like, well, they didn't look good, but we know they're probably better, so we'll rank them high. Like it's just funny how the subjectivity of like how these rankings work. So,
yeah.
I'm okay with the Chargers being right along with the Rams. I don't know if I'd put them 4 ahead at 6 versus the Rams 10. But I think they're worthy of that. And then, the rest, like I said, we're all the usual. San Francisco, I agree. Again, these are power rankings. So how good your team is going into this week. No George Kittle, probably no Brock Purdy. To me, that should be taken into account into a power ranking. If you're missing 2 of your best offensive players, like you shouldn't be ranked as high just because you won the last week. So anyway, Pro Football Focus, they have the Rams at 8, 1 spot ahead of the Chargers. Eagles 1, Baltimore. This is interesting. Baltimore 2, Buffalo 3.
Okay.
Sounds like there's some AP voters going on in these power rankings.
Throwing dirt.
Green Bay 4, Kansas City 5, Detroit 6. I really don't know how you could put Detroit 6. Washington 7, LA 8. So
it's the PFF is always interesting because they're the grading institution. Yeah. They use so much of it for grading, and I mean, you can quibble here, but you look at some of the reasoning behind why teams are putting them in this, or these sites are putting them in the 8 to 10. It's a lot of Stafford questions still, which I mean, in terms of his health, he looked fine. He was under a massive amount of pressure from the Houston Texans, and no quarterback is better under pressure. I mean, he does lack the mobility. I would say that, but to come out of this game saying that Stafford didn't look good, it was just ridiculous. He had 72% completion percentage, nothing astronomical from a yards perspective. 5 big time throws. Even when under pressure, they're grading him out. If we go back to their grades, is 80.5 as just a passer. So I don't
know. And based on PFF's as a grading metric, Stafford was the highest graded overall quarterback in week 1. And I haven't looked at their team. I just haven't had time, but I can't imagine the Lions had a lot of high grading marks considering how that game went, and yet they have them at 6th. That's just fascinating to me. Like, because if their rankings are based on average grade per player, I mean, did they just do really well on special teams? Like, I don't know how. And I mean, they were just anyway. Let's move on. Yeah. Athletic. You got the Athletic pulled up. I don't have that one. What are they at the Athletic?
I have to share my subscription with you. It sounds like. So they're at 7th.
Okay.
Going real quickly. Eagles, Packers, Bills. Chargers is at 4.
Wow.
Washington Commanders at 5.
Yeah, a lot of love for Commanders.
San Francisco at 6, beating them by 1 spot. They're calling the Robert Saleh difference. Mm-hmm. That was the difference maker. Turning a terrible defense last year into a really, really good looking unit against the Seattle Seahawks. But yeah, again, shouting out Landman, looking like a steal is what they're saying. So, you know, who did they beat out? Beat out the Ravens. The Ravens weren't up there. You got to like that. Bengals ranked oddly high at number 9. Chiefs down at 10. So, okay. I mean, I think this is probably the most fair, save for Niners Rams. I mean, flip that at 6, and I think we're cooking with gas.
Yeah, I'm good with those. Yeah, minus again. I agree with the Saleh thing. I think as much as Rams don't want to hear it, like getting Saleh back is huge for the Niners. I mean, he is a great defensive play caller in mind. So that is a big get. I just based on how that game went, based on the injuries they're sustaining now going forward, like I can't have them at high. But overall fair. And finally, the Ringer. I didn't even know the Ringer did power rankings, but they actually have the Rams out of all these the highest, I believe, at 6th overall. They have Eagles 1, a lot of Eagles love. Bills 2, Ravens 3, Packers 4, Chiefs still 5, ahead of the Chargers who beat them. So I don't agree with that. Rams 6, Lions still there at 7, Bucks 8, Chargers at 9, and Commanders at 10. Your thoughts on those?
I mean, their reasoning is the closest to my reasoning for liking this team so far. So I'm just going to read it off. Matthew Stafford was sacked or knocked down on 1 out of every 5 dropbacks against the Texans on Sunday. I held my breath every time he hit the turf. That's everything that's been going through my head. But Stafford picked himself up and continued to push the ball down the field, aggressively looking for the holes in the Houston zone coverage. There's the way that McVay schemed up this game, getting the tight ends to do a lot of the dirty work, getting Stingley on a tight end occasionally, really, really smart working there. And Stafford pushing the ball down the field, even under pressure. I mean, even with the back hurting, it's pretty incredible. Anyway, to round it off, the Rams offense repeatedly stalled out in the red zone and put Stafford in some tough third down situations. But this week 1 performance was a reminder how good Stafford is when he's healthy. So, I think that really sums it up pretty well. You tack on an elite looking defense. I mean, top 5, top 6. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with the Ringer's kind of methodology. They break down how they break it down. They have on each team where the passing offense ranks, the rushing offense, the passing defense, the rushing defense in terms of EPA. So using data, but also some common sense. Again, I don't agree with the Chiefs being 4 spots ahead of the Chargers who beat them. I think that's interesting. Like later in the season, I understand that. Like when a team is, 7-2 and maybe they lose to a 6-3 team, like I can see them still being like, well, I'm still going to power rank them ahead of them. But when it's the first game of the season, I don't see how you rank a team that lost ahead of the team that just beat them. But anyway, so
the writer of the Ringers power rankings, Deontay Lee, he's a great mind. Yeah. He's actually a high school football coach. Yeah. Really, really smart on the defensive side, but just a overall ball knower. So if anytime you see Deontay Lee out there, listen, pay attention, take some notes.
Yeah, he is a good one. That was a good get from the Ringer. I feel like the Ringer is one of those companies that just like feels like it's like dying, and then it just like spikes back up. Like they get a couple big hires, and then it kind of fizzles out. Like, but it just keeps hanging around. So
yeah, good eye for talent. I mean, Robert Mays worked over there for a long time. Kevin Clark was there for a long time. Bill Simmons knows a thing or two about sports personalities. That's for sure.
It's fun. It's always funny seeing like different publishers' budgets and how they fluctuate. Because you'll see like the Ringer did those big slew of hires, like taking people from, I think, PFF, if I'm not mistaken, or was it from the Draft Network? Can't remember. They hired a bunch of personalities from one other one, and then another one hired a bunch from the Ringer, and then ESPN took from that one.
33 teams, takes from Yahoo takes from the Ringer, from the Athletic, it's just like you can see where the money is moving in media.
Yeah.
By who's moving where.
Exactly. And sometimes it'll shift back to another one, or they'll get like a little bonus or an investment or something. So anyway, we'll keep this one short and sweet. So where do you have the Rams? And I'll give mine. Where do you have them? I mean, it's kind of, tough to put, but 1 week, I'm sure it's within the realm of where these all land. So they all land basically 6 to 10 was where all 6 of these websites have them.
Yeah. I'm going to go, if I'm just going to kind of pull this right out of my ear, Eagles, Bills. I'm going to put the Packers at 3 just because they look scary.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and put the Ravens.
At 4. Okay.
Chargers. I'm putting the Chargers at 5 just because that was impressive performance. I'm going to keep them at 6. I'm going to keep the Rams at 6.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm right pretty much there with you. I'll just, for the sake of being different, I'll go Bills 1, Eagles 2. I'll go Packers 3 as well. It's hard for me to buy into the Packers, but they looked great in week 1. Again, I'm basing this off week 1. Ravens, even with the loss, I'll go 4. I mean, that was such a great football game. And then I'm going to put the Rams 5 with the Chargers 6. On the eye test, I think the Chargers win was more impressive, beating the Chiefs on essentially neutral territory, the way Herbert played. So part of me wants to put them ahead of the Rams. I just think the Rams, to me, I think the offense didn't play good, and I know they're going to get better with Sean McVay, whereas the Chargers can certainly get better. I'm not saying they can't, but to me, that was like the best offensive performance we've seen from the Chargers in the Jim Harbaugh era. In 19 games, that was their best offensive game, and they got to win. They squeaked it out. The Rams, I think the offense played pretty awful. Still got to win. You seemingly are going to get better. They're going to be better. So that's, I guess, my backwards reasoning.
It's so tough after week 1 because you got the injuries. You got the Rams playing an incredibly high variance kind of style of play. Those interceptions, or the turnovers were crazy. But then you're heading into week 2 with 2 offensive linemen looking questionable.
Yeah.
But it's week 1. You got to take a lot of things with a grain of salt. So just like power rankings.
That's right.
That's right. One man's opinion.
That's right. So there you have it. So let us know what you guys think. Where do you put the Rams after week 1? But I think it's safe to say 5 to 10 is certainly fair within whatever order you have there. And we'll see what they do against the Tennessee Titans. We'll be back tomorrow live from Skinny T's dojo in a beautiful 75-degree day here in Los Angeles, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Come hang out with us. Bring your comments. The more people we get, we want to build this out every Thursday, 4 p.m. We'll be hanging out previewing the next week's games. So we're talking all things Rams Titans. Cam Ward, rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick. Rams having to play at 10 a.m. on the East Coast. We're getting into all of it. So we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time for Skinny T. I am Ryan Dowd. Everyone be well. See y'all tomorrow.